CatchMark Mortgage presents.
So the idea that like the only people I use Snapchat with are you, Cody. Like I don't snap Jeff. Like why would I snap Jeff?
Then why do
Like,
you guys have Snapchat? You didn't get Snapchat because of me. You had Snapchat before.
I had Snapchat before because I'm a tech guy and I'm curious. I'm really, really curious. And I think Jeff might have been one of my first Snapchat ads, to be honest with you. I'm there with him. Like, I just don't ever send him snaps. Like, if I'm going to send him something funny, I just do it in text.
Right.
Because I don't care that it's persistent.
But there was a time where I don't want to say I was a heavy Snap user, right? But, like, I had streaks with a bunch of people, like my wife, my daughters, and family members. A couple of my buddies, we'd send stupid stuff. I got one buddy who still sends me snaps almost every day.
Yeah.
He's got, well, now I'll have to see it's a new year, but he's got one of those, like, dad joke calendars.
Yeah.
Like, every day I get a snap from him of that dad joke calendar.
Yeah.
Right?
That's
It just,
funny.
like, I go in streaks with it. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know the last time I've looked at Snapchat now, but for a while it was like notifications on, it's on my home screen. Oh, I got a snap, I got to look. I don't know, it just kind of fades
So
out.
now I chuckle because every time I get something, it's going to be funny, and it's going to be from one of you guys. You're the only people that send me snaps. What's up, buddy? What are you taking pictures of me for, sly guy?
Episode 11 of the CatchMark SportsNet podcast brought to you by Van Dyke Mortgage. Our boys Mario and Nate taking care of us. Shepard and Shepard as well. Matt Shepard, great dude, and North Grove Brewers in Montague. Thank you guys all so much for sponsoring this podcast. Today, we are joined by special guest and directing partner of CatchMark Technologies, Jeff Burrell. Jeff, welcome.
And liar. He lied to me this morning.
Why did he lie to you?
You made him.
First of all, thank you for the invite.
Yes.
And this is directed at you two because Brent didn't want to have me on. I've been asking since episode 1, but
Do you think I control anything? Have you seen the way this has gone?
Is that
so
when
far
he
this
called you
morning?
out? Did he call you out then?
I did call him out.
pretty much every episode, yeah. But did you just ask if you control something?
Yeah, I don't
You
control
like-
this.
This is
he doesn't
Brent's
think he
world.
controls things,
No,
but he does.
this is. Did I know who was coming in here today?
This is the one. We didn't even.
I
we didn't
am
let you
actually
control it.
amazed. Like, I legit didn't know. I guarantee you guys thought I knew this morning when I asked you.
Yeah, I thought you did.
Because
I thought you were messing
I
with me.
legit did not know. And Jeff, your reaction was a little. Because I can read Jeff pretty good. It was a little off, but he did a pretty good job. Scary good job, actually.
I had like 3 days to prepare.
Did you?
I thought
Keep it
for
a
sure
secret.
you would know when you saw him here.
No, I honestly, I've been sick and out, so I didn't put 2 and 2 together.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you said, no, we don't have anybody, I was like, oh, I want to have a guest. And then as you start talking, I was like, oh, okay, I got it. Jeff's coming on board.
Yeah,
So-
we just we had to get somebody to count on you.
just for the record, so we can be straight, so Jeff can
Yeah.
stop being mad at me. I have not invited anybody onto the podcast, right?
Yeah.
All right, so I'm not. In
But-
charge.
but
I
you're
just
not mad
show
at you.
up. I with
You
my
do
beard
kind.
and my
You're kind of
gray.
like sometimes when we say names.
Yeah. I only did that once or twice with Jeff. So like,
Yeah, right.
So do you know? Did you know every Christmas gift you got too? Because you know everything before.
I
happened.
did. I did not know any. I got 2 Christmas gifts, and I did not know either of them.
Did you? What was your favorite gift? Yeah, is something noteworty? That
Kara got me a back scratcher. It's glorious. It is absolutely glorious.
I don't know. Nothing
is it
replaces.
like a rake?
Like
It does look like a rake. It's like a big garden rake.
Yeah.
I'm gonna start coughing. That's pretty good. No, it is really long though. It's got a big old long arm, and it's like little rubber bristles, and you got multiple attachments you can put on. So if you want your back scratch really good,
It's literally bought a grill scraper.
I had one of those at one time. I don't know what happened to it. It was in our Grand Rapids office, and he used to tease me about it.
Oh, you did have one.
I don't know where it went, though. But those are nice. So
not
I can
use
see why you
corners
like
a
it.
lot. I use like corners of.
Oh
Like a
yeah,
grizzly
like
bear.
a grizzly bear.
Yeah.
There's still nothing better than having like your wife or whatever scratch your back. It's
Yes,
it's
that
just
is true.
nothing can replace those human nails on your
Yeah,
back.
Okay.
Right.
Scott's
just
trying
not
to get
Scott,
out of the
you just
doghouse.
took this,
I know.
buddy. Buddy,
no,
you've
you
been in
guys are-
Cabo with your wife.
You,
don't
got,
need
you
to
guys
hear
are
about-
taking it that way.
He's
I-
trying to get out of the doghouse. There's something's going on.
Don't bring me
here.
into your
I'm
Snapchat
glad you have spice in your
discussions.
relationship
Don't
still,
bring me into
Scott.
your dirty Snapchat discussions and TikTok discussions.
Dirty
Your
snap.
your
we get-
nefarious
No.
discussions.
Can we
So-
get
See,
Billy
that's
to
where-
Billy to cue up a little like music bed in the back?
That's true. Let's do it.
So we did just have a heated debate. I don't know how much of it's going to, on Snapchat, I don't know how much of it's going to actually make the podcast because some of it was not safe for podcast.
Yep. That's
NSFP.
fair. Yep.
But I've been like hinting and talking about the idea of TikTok for CatchMark SportsNet. What do you guys think about that? And I'm looking at Jeff because I don't know that you've ever heard us talk about this.
I haven't heard you talk about it, but I can see
Think
I
you
can see
take
the
on?
value. We've actually talked about it for the Michigan Cornhole League.
Really?
How that type of stuff is just
It's huge.
it's huge, and it's how you get people to know you're out there.
Yeah, I agree.
I think TikTok's would be good for any business from a marketing standpoint. I thought about this a lot because after we talked about it, I don't think it'd be good for like a reporting standpoint.
No,
like
no, no,
putting like game scores up there because you don't when you go to TikTok, you don't look for like specific
Yeah, yeah,
information. You're more or less watching for entertainment,
Just
right?
yeah, but you might follow somebody. So,
True.
you know, yeah.
That's true. I don't know.
I could see it
Interesting
being
thought.
really good for like behind the scenes bloopers or when you're setting up, like
Yep.
doing a TikTok video of Billy and the crew getting
Forgetting
something. You know, like
It'd be a lot of TikToks.
Be-
Billy's
behind
or
the
the-
scenes stuff.
Billy's
Or the different
No, no,
faces
I-
of Jesse at the wrestling tournament.
yeah.
Yeah, right. I was like, well, what if, what if you had different, you're setting out for reporting, but what if you had it while you were at a game and you had like a coach or somebody from one of the teams do one of those trendy TikToks, so we have like different players and people on it all the time.
I do think that that kind of thing would be good, but not reporting. Not
So the
anything fast.
MHSA actually has like they'll actually have profiles of players and stuff that it's a quick like 30 to 60 second video of a player. They haven't really. It doesn't look like they maintain their channel real well. But it's out there, so I don't know. I was just curious.
I think so.
TikTok's- go ahead, John.
Behind the scenes stuff would be cool.
Yeah.
Like if you guys are setting up to run events or something, if
Mhm.
like you said, Billy's in his team is setting up or something, just kind of showing behind the scenes of what's going on and what it looks like behind the cameras and stuff. I think that would be exciting to see
for
because
sure.
that's one of the reasons when I helped with that YL football game is why I wanted to do it is I wanted to see
What it was like.
the back end production side, and I think other people would be curious of that too.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of work that goes into that too. So
Yeah, I agree.
it's- yeah.
Along the lines of this tech type stuff we're talking about, our live streams, we got some big news last week that we kind of put out there.
Oh yeah,
I think we should
absolutely.
talk about it for a minute. I know this
Yeah,
is kind of
don't,
it's not
for
on
sure.
your agenda,
Take
but
it
we
away.
need to
I-
discuss it. We can actually, CatchMark is able to bring our live streams free to our YouTube channel during these events, not have to wait, not have to go directly to the NFHS. That's for the regular season only, and that's only if the host school
Agreed.
has agreed, gives us permission, and the Pixelot that they have in their gym or at their field is feeding to the NFHS network.
So it's basically running simultaneous streams. Billy, Billy's the one. Did Billy get a hold of MHSA
We
on
did.
that?
We
Yeah,
started. We
together?
kind of launched
Okay,
it. He
yep.
he reached out, and we reached out to Whitehall and Montague to get permissions.
That's big news.
So,
So,
yeah.
that
That's
means
really cool.
everything can be streamed to. Basically, we will have a stream go onto YouTube for free. It'll be back to the production quality we had when we very first started doing this a couple of years ago, which I think will make a lot of people happy. So that's
I was
awesome.
surprised by that post.
Me too.
I mean, for the MHSA to back down like that, and
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, I
in a
don't
way
know
they're
if
giving away
they
money.
back down. I was curious because I was searching on the internet for because Jay at Montague had reached out and asked if we could post the wrestling event that we just had on our YouTube. So I was just looking up things, and I found a Traverse City some article from a newspaper in Traverse City that said early December the MSHAA met and had come to these new decisions, and I didn't kind of believe it at first because not everybody in the world isn't reporting it or doing it. And I talked to Scott, and Scott had me reach out to the head of the MSHAA And he said, "Yep, that's what we did. We decided early December that schools or production companies with a that we know are reputable can produce streams and simulcast them as long as the NFHS has the pixel art."
Yeah. So
my question is the motivation of why. We talked about this a little bit.
Well, I'd like to back up and because I don't know. I've explained this or tried to online when we first were forced to kind of go to NFHS, but I'm not sure that everybody understands what actually happened. CatchMark is not NFHS. CatchMark is not Pixelot. We basically just produce the video stream that goes into that service, right? So it's like if you're getting water to your house, we are basically the water tower in the back, and the pipes are all managed by somebody else, right? And so we were forced to push our stream to NFHS last year after that first bout of COVID. They kind of went back and said, you have to push to that. And it's a contractual thing. MHSA is contracted with NFHS to provide some Pixelot cameras for free, to provide this platform to do it. So that's kind of where the world we've been living in. What this means now, though, is that it will still be streamed to NFHS via the Pixelot camera, but we will be able to push the stream at the same time to YouTube for free, which is really big. The motivations, you and I talked a little bit. I think that initially the MHSA thought it was really going to take off, and it was a way to get everything to everybody in the state, right? Like a one-stop shop kind of platform for that. And I think what happened was I think there were some quality issues with the service, with the platform, and they were getting a lot of pushback from some other areas, and there were companies like us doing this, and the quality dipped. So this is, to me, a way where you notice they still has to go to NFHS. Mm-hmm. They don't break contract, but they're also allowing some other usability options for people.
And also for the tournament, they do have rights again.
They do
it
have
goes
rights.
back to that for the state tournaments.
Absolutely.
But they don't even... They they use different equipment. They don't use a Pixelot for like the state tournaments.
They will though if they're housed at home. So for example, Montague plays a home playoff, but first round and second round of the playoffs, they will use the Pixelot for a home game. Once they get to like Ford Field or the bigger tournament games, then they will have like Fox will do it or something like that. But
we wouldn't be able to stream playoff football.
We can still produce them, but once the playoffs hit, it has to go through NFHS, which makes sense. They probably were expecting maybe higher viewership or higher numbers, and they didn't necessarily get it through NFHS. It's good for us. It's good for fans too.
For sure.
So,
For sure. Back to Jeff. I want to get back to Jeff since he's our guest and Brent's dominated the conversation.
I always do.
I'm used to it. That's right.
You guys are friends from high school.
Oh
yeah.
Lord.
Right? Or
technically before. I mean,
yeah. Like growing up, right?
Yeah, I would say. Yeah, like I can't remember the first time actually meeting Jeff. Like it's just been that long. Like
okay, so it's like a lifelong thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so since I've been here, I've seen you guys exchange words a couple times. And
what do you mean by that?
And well, I can get into the details a little bit.
No, we're good. Continue.
And I also work right next to my brother and one of my very good friends as well.
Yeah.
And I know how challenging that is for me at times.
Yeah.
So I'm curious what you guys think of the tenure here together. Like how do you feel about working with a good friend?
There's days where it doesn't feel like work.
Yeah.
Right? Like when I first came to CatchMark, over 4 years ago now, it was like quitting corporate America, I'm going to go work with a buddy from high school. How can this go wrong? Right? Or how can this work out either way? But it definitely helps, I guess you'd say, when knowing Brent as well as I do, it makes it easier at times. I'd also say that Brent and I are pretty similar in some ways, which is why we'll say the disagreements don't happen often. But I enjoy it. it's been a good time so far.
Yeah, interesting. I would say that even like the disagreements that I alluded to and that you just mentioned,
Right.
most like at least some of them I've seen have been like kind of needed, right? It's usually you're combating another person's perspective. When I personally don't think that other people may step up in that situation, or it may be harder for someone to step up in that situation.
I'll just say what I appreciate about Jeff is that he's one the same with everybody. Like what you see is what you get, and consistency is extremely important with that. Two, he's not afraid to engage in healthy conflict and accountability. It might not always either way. It might not always be right or done at the right time, but there's a commitment to that, right? And then, but lastly, it's trust. None of that works. None of this happens in the right way, and you'll find out, in my opinion, really quick who you really have a good trust relationship with when you go into a work environment, right? Like Jeff, if he gets upset at me, if I don't trust that his motives are there, like that could go really bad real quick, and vice versa. Like if we get to the point where I'm like, Jeff, you have to be quiet and listen. You're not, like, and have to be like, he knows I'm not saying that just because I'm serving an inner ego thing. It's more of like, okay, let's get to the root cause, and we usually end up doing that. And so, yeah, I think trust is the number one thing.
Yeah, I agree.
A lot of people think they have it. I mean, it's a really fickle thing. A lot of people think they have it, and you get into an environment where your healthy conflict is encouraged and accountability is encouraged, and you find out real fast that maybe you didn't have it. You know what I mean? And it can be really stressful. So, but overall, I mean, working with people you like is a joy, right? Like,
it definitely is.
And I think one of the things we've done real well around here is balance with that. So
interesting.
Yeah.
You've told the story a few times about Jeff.
He's digging.
No,
into
this
the
is
background.
good. This is a good one. I think this
Jeff
is
jumping out of the car and breaking his head open.
Oh no.
Jeff
No.
riding his
There's
bike
that
down the
one.
road.
I don't think we're gonna have
Here
time for
comes
those
Jeff
stories.
around.
No,
Quit
about
interrupting. No,
you hiring Jeff because of the way he manages fantasy football.
It is 1,000% true.
I know, like that's what you've
It's
said.
So like, I don't know. Like I look for little things, right? Like when I'm looking at somebody and I'm like, okay, are they going to be talented? Are they going to be good? What are the things that they do? And I remember, Jeff and I were friends in high school. We played sports together. I've known him forever. But there was a huge period of time where I don't think I even talked to Jeff, but once in a while. We moved back to the States. I got asked to play in a fantasy football league, one that I quit, by the way. Mid-draft, one time.
Mid-draft. Friends, I'm out. This is BS. I'm out.
And it's because we were manually drafting, and we went to anyways, long story, but but yeah, like the time, the effort, the care, and the detail-oriented way that Jeff put into running that fantasy football league, if he's going to do that with something like that, he's going to be great at a lot of things. Like a person, you don't just change that. That isn't something that I think you can turn on or turn off when you want to. Like that is going to be the way he's going to do most things. There's good things about that. There are bad things about that too. Like he is not a commissioner you want to mess with. AKA people have been banned from our fantasy football league, and there's been some. So I mean, I think that I watched how he did that. It was like a job interview that he didn't even know he was interviewing for. And those are the best parts. That's the best way to get to know somebody. And I knew he'd do a great job, and he has. So
it's kind of a cool
this
story.
fantasy football league, there's 12 of us. 11 of us are friends from high school.
Which is kind of crazy. Because we talk to people all the time, right, where you're lucky to have two friends out of high school, or you know what I mean?
Yeah, right. Who are all our – it's me, you.
Also, there's some characters in this.
There are,
no doubt.
Yeah, Jeff has his hands full.
Well, so hold on before you talk about that.
Yeah.
That's where I was going is managing this league, it's fantasy football. But it's guys that I've known for 25, 30 years, right? You can imagine the banter.
Yeah.
Just it's
nonstop.
it's real hard to keep this stuff reined in. Like even at the draft, like we used to do completely offline manual drafts, and it'd take like 4 hours because it was story time between every pick and arguing back and forth, and guys bringing magazines from 2 years ago because they
picking people that
Yeah.
already been picked 4
So,
rounds
yeah,
before. And
there's good and bad to it, right? With being guys
Yeah.
that you know, but yeah, it's hard to reel it in, but it is fun.
Interesting stuff.
there's not
Like
safe for podcast comments on
yeah,
it.
I'm
Yeah,
sure.
for
Fantasy
sure.
football.
How do you guys do? You guys communicate like in the app,
Yeah.
or is it more
Snapchat.
Right. Could make a Snapchat group.
No, we
for
use
sure.
the message board inside.
yeah.
We use Yahoo, so
Okay.
there's a message
Yep.
board in there. And
For sure.
And text. Lots of text back
Text
and forth.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tembrink is one that loves to text you when he knows he's playing with you
Yeah.
that
He likes to get
week,
you
and
fired
he's
up
like-
before the
he'll try
game.
to get you fired up.
Before
He's probably king of lopsided trades. He's always throwing something out there where you're like,
why?
what?
And his team
Why
name
would
will
I do
change.
that?
Like when you log in and you look and like, oh, that team name doesn't look familiar, and it's always geared like at somebody. Like early in the year, his team name was "Please Don't Fire Harbaugh." He's kind of backed up on that one a little bit
Yeah,
now.
he
He's
is a
changed
little
it,
bit.
so it's like Gaddis the Savior is leaving or something like that. But
He changes it every
so
week.
yeah, they're
Oh yeah, he changes a lot.
So the message board, text,
That's
team
cool.
names, yeah.
I like that.
So I want to like our roster of we'll call them owners. It's
Right.
Jeff and myself. But I graduated in '95 from Montague. Jeff's '94. Matt Parker '94 grad. Dan Albright
94.
'94. Jimmy '94 grad. Mike McFerrin graduated with me in '95. Jason
94.
Nazarowski was '94.
Dan Miner,
Dan Miner graduated with me. Who else am I missing?
Mark Morris.
Mark Morris '94. I mean,
John,
like
John Morris.
John Morris was a little younger, but still like in
still
that group, right?
that
Like,
range.
I mean, these
Bill
are
O'Connell.
all Bill O'Connell. Bill's a new ad two
How old's
years
Bill?
ago.
Is
Yeah.
he you guys' age?
Bill's 98. He was
Okay,
he
really
was
young.
I think a freshman when Jeff was a senior and a sophomore when I was a senior. I believe.
Or maybe even a year younger. He might have been with Melissa.
No, he's
was
older
your
than
older-
Melissa.
okay.
Melissa and Jamie.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's right around that age too. So
That's
yeah.
funny.
He might get his first championship.
Yeah,
He's in the championship battling with McFerrin. It's
know.
going to come down to tonight.
McFerrin. I didn't even look.
Yeah.
Once I was
O'Connell's
eliminated.
in
You were
the
out.
running?
O'Connell
That
is, yeah.
Okay, it's all come together because I asked if he could call a game this Thursday because I'm going to be out of town. I think he's game planning is what
Yeah.
he's doing instead.
might
I
be.
think it's.
Has McFerrin ever won?
I don't think he has.
Have you guys
Um,
ever won?
I have
It's,
not.
I have, but it's been a long time.
This
so
is
this league has been in existence since 2003. It started out. It was only like maybe four or five of us.
But it was before that, wasn't it? Or did you? I
No,
thought-
that was the very first league.
I mean,
it was
that's
in
like 20
2003.
years ago.
Yeah. So
long
and
goddamn
so like
fantasy football league.
Matt Parker, myself, Mike McFerrin, we've been in every year, and then the rest of the guys have been in a good majority of it. We had some guys come in and go out.
Yeah.
The one guy that didn't go to school with us is he's a friend of Mike's. Mike lives out in New York now, and he's a friend of Mike's out there who none of us have ever met in person. Like we've seen him on video chat, so we know he's real,
Yeah.
but never met him in person. So he's just kind of this outsider with all this stuff. And I'll get emails from him once in a while, and he's like, "Hey,
It's Gil. His name's Gil.
yeah." He's like, "Jeff, I'm not going to get in with all this banter going on with you guys, but I just want to say thanks for running a good league, And so,
That's funny.
but it is fun.
BB,
I
our
w-
guest last week on the pod, he runs
Yeah.
a fantasy football league
Yeah.
too.
Yep.
Yeah.
I know
That's
you.
fun.
Scott has one too. Like you're part of that, right? Like
I'm not.
that's-
I go to it.
Oh,
I don't-
He goes to the draft. He just isn't in the.
I just go and hang out because it's fun.
It is
Right.
fun.
I like
So-
watching those guys interact.
So I
It's fun.
do a fantasy football league with my father-in-law, and my father-in-law has been doing this for I don't even like probably 30 years. Like
Wow.
the same group of guys. He used to work at Eagle, Ottawa, and he got into it there. And he'll watch football and he loves the fantasy football stuff, but he's not the guy who wants to do all the research and keep up on like which players to pick. So I caught wind of him doing this, and he showed me his team, and he'd draft the guys the names he knew, right? So I said, next year, let me know when the draft is. I'll go with you. So I showed up at this guy's house, drafting with my father-in-law, and I've done that probably 7-8 years now.
How many of those leagues have you won?
We've never won.
Oh.
So we've got the Madden curse. Like, doesn't matter who we pick first, every year they get hurt. We had first overall pick this year. I'm like, oh, we first pick
This
out
is it.
everybody. Christian McCaffrey.
Nice.
Well, that worked out
Smooth.
great. Yeah. So we've never
Just
won
the
that
way it
one.
goes.
But so I do the draft, and then I kind of guide them a little bit through the year. But, you know, it's fun because it's something with my
Interesting.
father-in-law. Right?
Yeah,
So I
for
have
sure.
something to talk to him about. And but, yeah,
Fantasy's
I want to
a good
get a
time.
win, man.
Our-
Like,
What platform do you guys use?
Yeah, we use Yahoo.
we use Yahoo. My father-in-law's league is on NFL.com.
NFL's is great. That's
I use
I'm in a
ESPN.
league that's on NFL.
I like Yahoo's best. I've used all three. I think there's things I like about each, but all three of them are pretty good. But
They're all decent.
We don't move. So we moved from Yahoo for like 1 or 2 years for the league that
And
Brett
you
and
guys
I are in.
move back.
We moved back, and what's nice is you can go back and see the history.
yeah, it's really cool. So you got
It's, and you see like lifetime
stats,
standings
lifetime
and
standings, and all.
Yeah,
kinds of
that's
stuff.
if you use the same
Yeah.
You don't have to create a new league every time.
yeah, we just renew.
But
the
there's
league.
history there. I mean, I love all the background. Like you can look at who's won what. You got
Yeah, that's kinda
trophies in your
cool.
chest. Like I mean, there's some cool stuff with Yahoo. I have to say though, I've never played in a fantasy football league that I haven't won except this one. And every one I've ever played in, I've won multiple times. This is the kind of league
I can see that.
dude. Like if you. By the time I've thought about picking up a player, somebody's had him on their roster for a week.
Ten Brinks just got the app open.
Yeah, I mean these guys are all good. So I think I've made the playoffs the last 2 or 3 years in a row, and I can't ever get out of the first round. Like if you don't score 130 every week, you're not going to end well.
And how much? I think like a lot. Like what? Well, how about this question? What percentage of luck versus skill do you think goes into fantasy football?
I think to win the league, there's usually some luck that goes in.
Oh, for
There
sure.
is.
I think to make the playoffs, usually the guys that make the playoffs are the guys. There's still some luck, like on the borderline, but usually those guys, if you're in the mix going into the last week, you're usually have put some time in and looked at stuff and made some good decisions there.
Yeah.
I'll say though, this league, like coming into the last week of this league, there was like of
Anybody?
12 guys,
Yeah.
there was like 10 of them that could still make the playoffs, like with
Yeah.
any combination, like.
That's
they're-
fun though.
But that mirrors the actual NFL.
Oh,
right
dude!
now.
Yeah.
Like maybe one guy, 2 guys that were mathematically eliminated, one guy that already sealed a spot, 1 or 2, and everybody else was still in play.
That's
Because
crazy.
we take 6.
Yeah.
Yeah, and going in that last week, I was in a spot where I had to win to get in, and I scored the second highest points in the league. Only guy that outscored me is Mike, who I played,
And you
so I
lost.
missed the playoffs, right?
Yeah,
And
so there's a little luck.
It is. But Brent's right. Like when you're looking at the waiver wire for guys that pick
Oh,
up,
there is nobody there.
you can't be like watching ESPN on Sunday morning and be like, oh, got to grab the backup running back for this team. No, he's long gone.
Yeah.
Like you've got to be like 2 steps ahead.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And we don't have crazy roster size. It's not like we have like 30 guys on our rosters.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
there were times where I go to pick people up. And I'm like, man, I don't want to drop any of these guys.
Yeah.
But it's tough. It's
COVID
I like
got me first round. I had 2 guys get hurt and then 3 guys on the COVID list, and I was just like,
Jeez.
yeah, it was. But like Jeff said, trying to find anybody to replace them that's worth anything in that league, you're like, what am I going to do? I can't find anybody that's like, this sucks, you know. Like,
Yeah.
but it's also fun. So the first time I win it, I'll probably dance around my house. For a while.
Celebrate.
I
a
don't
little
think
bit.
Mike's won though. Like
I don't think so either.
Mike's one of those guys too that like he always is in the know. So
Yeah.
I've always been surprised that he doesn't win, but Mike has always had crap luck too. Like
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just the way it goes sometimes.
Yeah,
you know.
So I think he needs a pretty, not a decent night, but probably 15 points tonight from Nick Chubb. So, like, I mean, if you need some points and you got a running back, that's
the way to do
be
it.
good. But you never know, right? Like,
Mike's
you get-
luck, he'll get hurt in the
right,
You
first
just
first
don't
play, he's
score
going
it.
to twist his ankle, or he's
There's
going
some luck
to run to
involved.
the sidelines and take his shoulder pads off and run off the field.
That's the way it happens sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen it.
Speaking of football,
Oh Lord, this is just the Brent Jeff getting a fight show.
yeah,
isn't it?
that's
sure
I'm trying.
is.
We
So,
don't fight.
We had some bowl games over break,
We did.
right? Yeah,
I thought college football was done.
I'm sure
It
you
is
did.
for some people.
Yeah.
You guys oppose each other when it
We
comes to
do.
college football.
Yes.
I would like to call us though. I would call us reasonable fans. Is that fair? Jeff may not. Jeff has evolved into a reasonable fan. There's some times when he was not a reasonable fan, but
That's true.
Jeff and I,
Deep down, I'm
just
still
for the
not,
record,
but-
we have been to a Sparty Michigan football game together. Of course, it was at Sparty Stadium, and Jeff was, and then Michigan won on top of that. So
That was a good day.
it was a good day, though. It was fun. Like, I think we showed up in the very first spot we sat or stood. We started playing cornhole, didn't we?
Yeah.
We're in like, I mean, we could not have arrived any sooner, and then here comes the marching band. And I got video somewhere of Jeff just standing there in all his Michigan gear,
You're
with
like,
the
come on.
Sparty band going by, and like, we've also been to a Michigan basketball game together, and almost the exact same thing. I got great tickets, and like, you want to go? He's like, yeah. We sit down, and it's the darn alumni band. So all I heard the entire game, I'm like, this is gonna be like this the whole game.
Right on the aisle. Like we had
Oh my gosh, it
the
was
seats
awesome.
on the
Right
aisle,
next to it.
across the aisle, and I couldn't stop laughing.
That's so funny. Brent did that
It
up.
was perfect.
You
No,
won't-
he's like, yeah, I got these lower bowl seats. They were a really good price. I don't know why, but let's go. We got there. I'm like, oh, I know why.
Yeah.
Well worth it.
I do have to say, Chrysler is. It's a great arena, but it's like, I do definitely, this isn't the Michigan State bias. I do definitely like Breslin better. Chrysler
I
seems
agree.
too big. It's just not like, I don't know. Those were kind of weird, but
Yeah.
I
I
you
agree.
won't get as many sparks out of Jeff and I, Michigan State. Like, I legitimately, once bowl game stuff starts coming around, like, I really wanted to see, I want to see the Big Ten do well. I was disappointed that Georgia did what they did. But in 15, Alabama did the same thing to MSU, and
Yeah.
Ohio State has really been the only team out of the Big Ten that's really had any success.
And really, there's only been one other team, Clemson, that's really competed at the level of like an Alabama or maybe one other SEC team like this year's Georgia.
Yeah.
Like those two are far and away the best two in college football. It's not even close. No one else is even in the same stratosphere, in my opinion.
Yeah,
No,
I think
it's-
Bama's going to put the smackdown on them as well,
Yep.
personally. But
Oh, gee, they're both pretty
It's-
good, I
yeah.
think.
I think it'll be a good game. I really
Yeah,
do.
It should be.
It will
So-
be
They're
better
just at a
than,
different level, though.
better
The
than the
SEC's
game I watched Saturday night.
so going into that game, because I've been there, right? Like, I remember Sparty playing at Bama, right? Like,
Right.
and I knew in the back of my mind, I'm like, we had a great year, we had a great team. This is probably where it ends for MSU and bad. I mean, were you reasonable Michigan fan, or were you the guy sitting there thinking you got a shot against Georgia?
Oh no, I was all in. Like yeah. Oh well, Alabama won playing them. No, I really did.
How long did that take before the rose-colored glasses came off?
It wasn't long into the first quarter where I realized that there was going to be a problem. Yeah. And it just kept getting bigger and bigger. And like Tanya said, she goes, you could have stopped watching that game a lot earlier and came and played games with the rest of the family. I'm like, yeah, that would have been a much better
There's still a
decision.
True.
chance.
Hindsight's always 20.
Well, that's
Yeah.
the thing, and I know we're talking about Georgia here, but same thing. Alabama just, even with Cincinnati, I was waiting for them to just put the hammer down. And Cincinnati's credit, they hung around, but
Yeah.
Alabama will just grind you into the dirt because in that 2015 game, it was a 10-0 game at halftime, and it could have been closer because State threw a pick right in the end zone or near the end zone.
Yeah.
Could have been 10-7, but third quarter they just blew their doors off. It's like,
Yeah. It's
MSU
just a
and
different.
no one else is on that level. Very few are.
And I would have loved. I mean, I thought the Rose Bowl game was amazing. That was fun to watch. I would have loved to see something like that with Cincinnati, Bama, but
Yeah.
like it just,
I
But
knew
think-
Michigan was going to struggle running the ball. Like I knew, okay, you're not going to run the ball well.
Yeah.
But I've seen them throw the ball well. I'm like, all right, well, maybe there's a chance. And then there's always Michigan's defense is going to stand tough too, right? Well, they couldn't run, they couldn't pass.
Yeah,
The defense,
on the field a long time.
like I don't even remember
They
seeing
looked
Hutchinson's name
rough.
called, right? Like I mean, they
Ran
stopped
right at
him.
him.
Well, there's a
Yeah.
one play that happened, number 99, I think it was, the big dude for Georgia, where he chased down Corum in the backfield.
yeah.
It's like if you got a guy who's 6'4", 6'5", 350, whatever he is,
Yeah.
and
he
he's
runs
running
like
that dude down, Corum can
Right.
run.
Yeah.
And when he's running him down and flinging him, it's like, wow.
Yeah, I know exactly the play you're talking about. I had actually rewound it, and I showed my father on because we saw him. He's one of the captains, so they're out before the game, and like, holy crap, look how big that guy is, right? And then he runs Corum down, and I'm like, how can you be that big and move like
And
that?
run like that.
And
So,
I was-
are you jumping on the Parker bandwagon where everybody else is paying players but Michigan's not? I mean, I saw that come out.
Yeah,
Matt, I got to call you out on the podcast. Like, they just got beat. I mean,
So
like,
they
it-
did.
Said
They
on
did.
Facebook.
Oh yeah, Matt was all.
Yeah.
There's been 3 or 4 of them, I think now. So
I think Michigan got beat by a better team. I honestly don't even know if like Michigan, like if the team that beat Ohio State showed up and played like that, I still don't know that they can beat like Georgia is. They're just a different
Yeah.
level.
It's just different. And
Yeah.
and I'll say this about Michigan: they overachieved this year.
They did.
And there's been a lot of years almost every year under Harbaugh where it's been not the case.
Yeah.
But this year, I think they did overachieve.
Well, it's hard to sit here and be like, yeah, it sucks they lost, but
Mm-hmm.
if you would have asked me at the beginning of the season the expectations, no way. I mean, we're talking maybe
So would
8
you-
and 4.
Yeah.
as a Michigan fan, would you rather see him make the college football playoffs and get smacked by Georgia, or would you rather see him go win a Peach Bowl? I mean, like what is better from a college football perspective? Like, or go to the Rose Bowl and beat Utah in the game that Ohio State had.
I'd say making it to the
Playoffs.
Yeah, I mean,
Just getting
I think
smacked.
that's the goal of all the teams. It should be. Now, if they get there, like let's say they get there 3-4 years and they just get dominated every time, it would get old.
So does the Big Ten? I mean, I think for me, like, is the Big Ten going to stop getting some of the benefit of the doubt bids that they're getting? Because Big Ten has not performed well, and nobody has. Like, I'm not like, but
It's
like,
been like this though. Like this isn't anything new, really.
yeah,
Ohio State's
that's
the
why I
only
don't-
one that's really sniffed anything. They won it the one year. Beat
yeah.
Alabama in the semi and then beat
with the
Oregon or whoever
in
the
Ohio
final.
State. We know the athletes that go to Ohio State.
That's
It's
like an
crazy.
SEC team generally.
Yeah.
Ohio
Yeah.
State is like an SEC program.
Yeah, it is. I think there's a big difference. When you look at Alabama and Georgia, I mean, as good as the Big Ten teams, I think are, and they beat up on each other all year long. It's
now you know
just
why
still
Kelly went to
another.
LSU.
Right.
Another. It's just another.
But
level.
I will
think
say
there's
I
a-
don't know if it's as deep. I don't know if the SEC is as deep as what everyone gives them credit for either. It's top heavy, but I
yeah,
don't know
but
that.
real top heavy.
Right, very,
Yeah.
very much.
But how
so.
often
Yeah,
do
but
we
are
see
they?
matchups?
Yeah, but are they
Well,
as deep as?
Iowa played Kentucky, and granted Kentucky won, but Iowa was right there, had it, kind of blew
Scott,
it.
you can't use the game where the Big Ten got beat by the.
No, I know, but they were right there. It's not like just because they lost doesn't mean they got blown off the field.
Yeah.
I don't think you can say across the board that the SEC will blow the Big Ten off the board.
No, like if they did in basketball, they do that ACC Big Ten challenge, right?
Right.
You do
Yeah.
something
Right.
like that in football.
Right.
I think the Big Ten's going to win more games than they lose, but they're going to lose those top tier ones.
Oh,
for
yeah,
sure.
for sure.
There was a stat. I wish I remember what it was, but some about recruiting during the game, and it's like Georgia had 40 top 100 recruits, and Michigan had like 5 or something like that.
Yeah, I
And-
mean that's
And,
recruiting.
and I know that you got to have good coaching, and you get the 3 stars or the 4 stars that can definitely play, but
Yeah. You can coach them up, but there's a ceiling.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I think
Yeah,
when
yeah. That's-
D'Antonio had his best teams, you can coach them up to a point, but you still, if you don't have those, high
Well,
motor,
yeah, I
those
mean,
those top of the line guys, you're not gonna
the
win
answer
it.
is going to be like 2 teams like that, and if both coaches coach them up, but they start in a better place than you to begin with, and they have more of those, you're gonna run into a buzzsaw.
Yeah.
Is basically. And I think that I don't want to take anything away from those down south coaches either. Saban's a great coach. All those guys down there are good coaches, and they can recruit, and so you're gonna get their best shot, I think. So, but yeah, interesting.
Interesting stuff. On a more local football level,
Yeah.
we got to talk about this Cody Cater
Oh my
character.
gosh, that snake in the grass.
And this is funny that Jeff's here because this dude, this Jeff character, picked Reese Puffer to win, I think, every game this year. Except for maybe against Grand
You
Haven.
picked RP to win, Hefe, every game.
He's
yeah.
an RP.
Well, yeah. So I have a lot of family that went to Reese Puffer.
Yep.
That go to Reese Puffer.
Mhm.
So, it's kind of like my semi homer pick, right?
I like
But
that.
I know I did pick him a lot.
Yeah.
I can't deny it.
And
But-
and now we have one of Montague's just stud football players.
Oh my gosh, can we stop talking?
Favorite
about that
son?
like that?
Yeah, right.
Is that fair?
Jeez.
The prodigy.
It's absolutely fair, but we don't have to talk about it.
I did.
I love it.
When I saw the post, we're headed out over to my brother-in-law's, and like I said, my wife's family, my wife and her siblings all went to Reese Puffer. I have nieces and nephews that went to Reese Puffer, and I was talking to all of them about it. And I have a nephew who he played for Reese Puffer. He's probably 25 now, but I was talking to him, and he knows who Cody is.
Yeah.
And he's kind of on the same page as I am. Like, hey, this could be what they need, right?
For
like,
sure.
get that Rocket football program back.
Yeah,
Because when we were in school, they were good.
Yeah.
Reese Puffer was.
I remember you
they
saying
went
that.
to the state finals in '92, I think it was.
So
and
I mentioned this to Tanya the other day about how Cody's going there too, and she's like, "Good, they can get back to when I was in school." So she graduated in '91.
Yep.
Right. So that was like
right
that,
in the middle of it.
So
yeah.
she starts rattling up. Oh yeah, when I was in school, we had this guy, and like that was like probably some of the best years they've ever had there. And
I think so. I was not surprised by it. I'm glad. I'm glad Cody's coming back. Like I'm also glad for the experience I think that he got by going there. I gave him a lot of crap because of his homer comments with me and just because it's Cody and I've known him and his family forever. But I do think it was good for him to leave here, go see some stuff, pick up some experience, even if it was just for a year. I think, talking to him the other night at North Grove, like his eyes were open a little bit, and he's talking about like some of the players and the level of talent and what that looks like. And, being a Montague guy, I would hope that we would have got him back here, but I think Justin's done a good job there too. So it's a bigger school. I think Cody's going to have success there.
Isn't it funny how that shakes out, though? Because a few years ago, he was a finalist for the Ravenna job. Didn't get it.
Which you were telling me, I think, we were talking to BB about the finalists for that job.
It's
Holy
insane who the
cow,
finalist for that
man.
Ravenna job was when Doug Samuels got it. Samuels is at Comstock Park now. He's a Shelby guy.
Yeah.
But it was Samuels, Cody Cater, and Josh Lucas from Chelsea, who just led Chelsea to the state title, won the Detroit Lions Coach of the Year award. He was a finalist. Those were the three finalists for the Ravenna job. Now, is Ravenna at a point now? They were great in the 90s and maybe into the 2000s, but they've kind of fallen back into the pack a little bit in recent years. So for those three who have been proven to be pretty good coaches to be finalists, that's pretty crazy. But just funny how it shakes out. Cody ends up getting this opportunity, which, by the way, that's a big job. I mean, you're competing with Mona Shores Muskegon every year right out of the chute.
Yeah, it's no joke.
That's a huge job.
And
did he get
he's
West Ottawa on his schedule yet?
Yeah, you're right.
He
Seriously.
probably will.
Right.
He probably will.
I'm sure he will.
Yeah.
Probably get
Yeah.
a win, too. Sorry, Pat.
Right.
Sorry, Pat.
He's going to be asking for a stadium that Pat's getting to West Ottawa,
Yeah,
too.
right. For real. Kara and I were talking about this earlier about Cody, and she brought up a good point. She's like, who's his staff going to be? Who's his staff going to be?
If you've ever talked to Cody, though, like Cody has this. Don't think that he hasn't thought about this.
I agree.
Oh, yeah.
I'm more saying this from the point of like, are we gonna see like a 08-09 roster out there?
You might, like,
which would be cool.
Well,
I think it'd be cool.
so I've talked to Cody about this a couple times actually, and I think it will. Yeah, I think you will. I think you'll see some kids that he played with in high school probably come help. I think he's also got some guys that he played with in college, and that some friends from that those levels too. That he's got some ideas where like he wants to bring guys in. He's talked to me about like having plans. I think at the high school level, the trick is always like if somebody's coming in from someplace else, you got to find a way to relocate them, and they got to either get a job or at the school or so it does. It's a little trickier there. You're much easier. If I get a head coaching job, it's easier for me to bring Jeff in because he already lives in the area, right? And so, like, I think you could see
this is we've talked about this before on the podcast, in fact. But this is one of those things where, like, how do these high schools, these public high schools, hire football coaches? Do they hire a football coach and then find him a teaching position?
That's what I was gonna. Yes, that's exactly how they do it.
And is that right? Like, and how often does this happen? I mean, we see it happen often.
I think the way the school would position it is it's the package. It's the whole package deal. So they're not just hiring a great coach. They're hiring an educator as well. and typically the skills to be a great coach are going to translate hopefully in teaching, right? Like they're
Right.
similar.
And
So,
it does shake out that way based on what's available in the school.
yeah.
Like, did Samuels get it?
Yeah.
He didn't need the job necessarily in terms of a teaching job.
Yeah.
He doesn't even have a teaching certificate, but they gave him a position or an office in the building because he does this pro
I
football
think
focus
that-
thing.
Yeah.
I
So-
think that there's schools like Muskegon, and all those schools.
Well, your dad's a
where-
varsity coach. I mean, you know how this goes.
I think it's
so-
different for football.
Yeah, I got you.
I do.
Yeah, football.
I don't want to
is-
dance around this. Like,
No,
I
no,
really
no. I
think
agree.
it's
I
like
appreciate it.
I think they hire a football coach and then they find him.
Find him a job.
Yeah.
So wait till this Muskegon
Not-
Reese Puffer game too, by the way, because Cody was hired and working for Muskegon.
Shane does
And
not.
they're not happy. Muskegon's not
forgot
happy with
about
how
that.
that shook out. So just imagine how that game might be.
Explain that to again. Yeah, I don't necessarily think it wasn't optimal the way Cody went down.
No, and I'm not
south.
saying he played it wrong. I'm just saying though the way it went down.
Yeah,
but
I'm
we
sure-
talked about this last week too with
I
Brian.
know,
I don't blame people for taking
Yeah.
if he wouldn't have been happy or wished he
Yeah.
would have been somewhere else.
Yeah.
Why are you holding someone back from doing something?
No, I
you
get
Yeah,
it.
don't
like
wanna
if
do?
Zach
It's
came to me tomorrow and was like, "Hey, I've got this great opportunity someplace else, and I can't do anything to match that or make a similar opportunity here,"
right.
I might not be happy about the fact that he would be leaving, but I also wouldn't be angry about it. You know what I mean? Like I'm gonna be like, yeah, I get it, and hopefully, the way I've always looked at that stuff is hopefully that eventually comes back. Right? Like he'll
Yeah.
go pick up some experience, and then I will have something in the future for him, and I can bring him in.
Also, why would you I don't understand the point of burning
the bridge.
bridges.
Yeah.
I just don't.
Yeah.
We had that last year with John.
Yeah,
You know,
we did.
One of our cyber guys.
Yep.
He was doing a great job here and wanted to pursue something else.
Yep.
And to the minute he left on his last day, Brent was trying to keep
Stay.
him. Like, hey, we don't want you to
It's,
leave, right?
it's
But-
funny because I just realized this like last week. Or 2 weeks ago. I can't remember if it was Bob. Somebody was talking to John on the phone,
Yeah.
and you were like, "Hey, tell John I say hi," and John's like, "Yeah, tell Brenna," and I was like, did he not leave like?
He did. He left for 2
Unexpectedly,
weeks.
and-
I would have, but I've also worked through a lot of those. Like everybody's like, "Oh, you should have given him more time." And I've seen people get angry about, "Well, they only gave me 2 weeks." Nothing gets done. I've watched transitions that are 3 months with stuff, and
Doesn't
like
matter.
nothing gets
No.
done till the last 2 weeks, anyways.
Yeah, yeah.
It doesn't matter. You're better off just going forward. 2 weeks is a good
Clean
amount of
cut.
time, clean cut. Yeah, I know. I've never understood that. Now there are some other separations that, like, if it's
Yeah.
an immoral or an illegal or something like that, you can get upset. But yeah, definitely, like,
I
from
mean,
a
like-
competition perspective,
Like
Yeah.
Muskegon's going to want to beat him anyway, but the fact that Cody's going to be on the opposite sideline,
it
they might have a little more motivation
Also,
or
he's
one more reason to stick it to
the
him.
more
a
I
little bit
get
if
to
they
know
can.
Shane, the more like that's how he thinks too. Like
I don't think you can blame Cody. I'm going to be honest with you.
yeah. Well, you're a millennial, so
Well,
like it makes sense.
It is. He's
I
taking a
just-
head coaching position.
Yeah, absolutely.
I understand. I don't
Right.
fault Cody. You just
Also,
gotta go
this
with-
is
you
his
got
first. I don't know why. I mean, I know
best
why.
opportunity. you
But
can
like,
get.
I have such a hard time believing like this is his first, head coaching football head coaching position. Like it just seems so weird to me. I view him as.
I don't know
you know,
that
as
he's
a head
been
coach.
offered. I know he's interviewed and been a finalist.
I'm
for a
sure
while.
he could have found one if he wanted one. I'm just saying that I've always
Yeah.
thought of him as one,
Yeah.
right? Like I've always thought of
I
yeah,
think
Cody's
he's been
he's
strategic
been a head
about
coach
where
10
he
years.
wants to be.
You know, and
too.
there's probably a lot of Montague folks that are like, well, why didn't you just take the Montague? I honestly, like, as much as I love the Wildcats and I love the just all of it, right? Putting on my Homer wings. You have to look at this from a progression thing too. To win it at Reese Puffer, to win at Muskegon, to win at Mona Shores, to win down south at the type of school, it's a different environment. And if Cody wants to be a professional coach someday, which I don't know if that's what he does want to do, but if he did, Montague would have just been a stepping stone job for him anyways.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the idea that we would have kept him there for 30 years like Pat or like Ken Diamond before that,
Right.
like, that's he wants different things. His definition of success. is
I think
different.
Puffer's like the perfect place to start.
It's a great spot.
Yeah.
Like they will absolutely adore him if he's able to start winning games there.
And they're snapping up guys from the White Lake area because they got Artema doing a good
Right.
job in basketball.
Yeah.
And now they
Yeah.
got
Yes, no.
Cody and football.
Yeah. So I again, and I think Backman retired, right?
Yeah,
He
just
did.
recently.
Yeah, I mean, he was a great guy to work for too. Like, and, so
They love Rocket football. Like
They do.
I went to a couple games
Yeah.
this year, and they weren't that great, but there were a lot of people there.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you do halfway decent there, you're gonna.
I
people are
do
gonna love
think
you.
that they still they're better than they were 5-10 years ago. Like they're,
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
moving. I
Yeah.
remember watching an interview that Meekoff did with Miles Walton from Muskegon after the game this year. It was at Puffer, and he was like, yeah, Puffer, we beat them, but like they're good. They're getting better. They're getting there. So it was just kind of cool to see. So I think that Cody's coming in a good time, and he's going to be able to do what he wants to do. And
it's it's an area too where his name, I think, it brings credibility with it,
Absolutely.
and he's not. Nobody knows who Cody Cater is down south, right? Like even on the east side of the state, some people might know, but so I think it's a great move for Cody.
Do you know he's asking for a coach's corner already?
He did not.
Oh, he wants his own show. He wants us all over Reese Puffer.
no chance,
that
Cody.
guy.
Just kidding. Cody and I will have a show.
Yeah, well, that's
Do they do their own productions over at Puffer?
I've already
Football?
I've already texted him, Billy. No worries.
Come on, Billy.
We're on it. Billy's like, no, that's not what I meant. I don't have enough people to
Okay,
do it.
we talked about catering.
I
though.
don't want
Let's
to
not
do it.
leak any. Let's not. We talk about Cody's good.
Cody's done.
Cody's
This guy's
Cody.
got enough line.
Well,
right?
one thing.
Go ahead.
Do you think he'll coach basketball somewhere? Because you don't.
I don't, just because.
Not at Puffer. Because they probably have.
No,
some
I know.
No.
But I just don't. I just think that Puffer
Does he have
job's too
time?
big.
Yeah.
I can see
I
him
don't know. It's just
helping
my
Nate out.
opinion.
What's that?
I can see him helping Nate out.
Yeah, that's true.
So
That'd be
Derek
interesting,
and
but-
Nate. I don't know. Actually, I don't know the connection. When I was in high school, Cody's brother, Derek,
yeah.
was either helping Nate out or
They went to
coaching
school
JV.
together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd be surprised if
Nate
he
was
was a
at
head
Whitehall. Nate was O'Connell's age.
Yeah. Okay.
And Derek was a year younger than them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just
Be
remember
surprised.
seeing. I know they know each other. Is my
yeah,
point.
yeah.
I'd be surprised if he was a head basketball coach.
Yeah.
At least in the immediate future. I don't
Cody's
see-
just arrogant enough to try. both.
I can see him helping out though. Like just
Yeah, no, that's good. All right.
Okay.
What's next?
We got to let Jeff talk about cornhole a little bit.
Oh my
This
God.
guy tells me today that he plays over the weekend, right?
Yeah,
Where he doesn't have to run a tournament
it was amazing.
and he can just focus on hanging out a little
Did you
bit.
win?
So get
I threw singles. I decided to play in the social division, and I finished in 17th place out of about 45 people.
You haven't been
Which is like-
practicing?
I have not thrown very much in a long time, but you know what? I had so much fun just
Yeah.
like sitting there in my bag chair and talking to my buddies
Yeah.
and just talking to people and not having to stress out about, oh, this
Yeah.
tablet's not working. These people, and I don't do that much because I run so many events.
Yep.
And that takes up so much time that when I'm not running events, the last thing I want to do is go spend a weekend playing. So yeah, it was a good time.
How'd you get into it in the first place?
there you go.
Let's see, it's probably 5 or 6 years ago.
Thought he was gonna say 27 years.
Yeah, no.
right.
This group of guys that I hang out with, and I can't call them my friends because they're husbands of my wife's friends. So none of them would even
So they're-
admit that they're actually
they're-
my friends, right?
They're
But-
hens.
yeah. We'd get together and these guys would be playing. And they had been playing for a while and they were pretty good. We need another guy. I'm not playing. Like I just sit there and watch and sit in my bag chair, have some drinks. Well, after a couple years of this, I find them like, all right, I'm going to give this a try. And then much like a lot of things in my life, once I start, it's like all in. So started playing and I'm very competitive. So I wanted to get better real fast and be able to play with these guys. And I'm going on Facebook and see all these guys playing in these tournaments. I'm like, well, how do you know where these tournaments are? I got to figure this out. And they're just like, oh, well, yeah, you got to be friends with the people and they'll post the stuff. And so I'm like, all right. So the tech side of me is like, there's got to be more people like me that want to be able to find these tournaments that can't. So I start up this page, West Michigan Cornhole, on Facebook, and I start making friends with the people running the events, just trying to find them. And then I just share all these events on the page so people could find them. And then it turned into, hey, do you run events? I'm like, no, I don't run events. Well, would you? I'm like, man, can't be that hard. I've been to them. I know how this works. So I start running events. Then I go to a tournament in up in Cedar Springs, and I meet this guy. His name's Jason Duflo. Well, Jason owns Cornhole America, so he makes bags, boards up in Cedar Springs. Been running events probably like 15 years at this time, and I just started talking to him just because I was curious, and became real good friends with him. And he's like, well, yeah, I can help you. Do this if you need boards, and just kind of evolved. So I started running events, and then a little over a year ago, Jason and I have become really good friends and decided it was time to try and change the cornhole game here in Michigan, and we started up the Michigan Cornhole League. So now it's gone from playing in the yard to playing to hosting events to I don't hardly ever play, but I enjoy
like being
playing.
a golf pro. If you want to play a lot of golf,
Right.
you go to
Right,
golf pro.
yeah. It's kind of full circle. It's kind of come full circle.
Yeah,
if you
and
think
it's
about
fun. And honestly, I do enjoy playing, but it goes back to kind of the fantasy football thing, right? Like I have real good organizational skills, and I love to hold these events and host them, and just see people having fun in playing this game that's crazy popular and continuing to grow. And if I don't get to play, it's not the end of the world, because I enjoy to see people, having a good time. And nobody's really done a lot with cornhole like in this area. I mean, it was Grand Rapids or Kalamazoo. Jason would run some stuff up in Cedar Springs, but in Muskegon, there was just never anybody that did it. So,
Nothing.
yeah.
How's it been for a networking tool too? Do you think seems like it would help, wouldn't it?
Yeah, so there's been stuff that's from CatchMark that's helped with cornhole, and cornhole that's helped with CatchMark. Couple of probably the most fun event that I've had, and I've done it twice, is with the West Michigan Ironman. So Mario and Nate, we were helping them with tech stuff for CatchMark, and they caught wind of this cornhole thing, and they're like, well, we want to do an event in the arena on the turf, like before a game. Yeah, we can make it happen. So I've done that a couple times, and
It's kind of cool.
it is cool. And trying to set another one up for this year, but it was that's one that a lot of people are still like, hey, that was the coolest event I've ever been to, playing down on the turf. So it is. It's a good networking tool. I've met a lot of great people. That's the thing. I mean,
Did anybody ever win our money, Jeff?
no, but we got talked about doing that again. We had we had the CatchMark cornhole toss at the Ironman Games. I think it was it like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So they'd sell
There's
tickets.
a big debate in CatchMark about like what was the appropriate distance and what was realistically.
Yeah.
We had
Yeah.
to make it realistic, but not.
So they do a lot of stuff at the Ironman Games and halftime and stuff. So we set it up with the Ironman. They'd sell tickets, kind of like 50-50 tickets. They'd draw one out. Somebody'd go out on the field at halftime, and they'd get to throw 4 bags. And one of them was from like, I can't even remember what it was. We'll say like 10 yards, which is 30 feet. 27 feet is the normal length. So they throw a bag from there. If they get one bag, if they make it, they got like $100 or something. And then they'd back up to the next one, which was like 15, and then to 20, 25, something like that. But I want to say the fourth one was like a 25 yards or 20 yards, and it was, we'd say like
$1,000.
$1,000, something like that. Yeah.
I mean,
So
it's
nobody-
a toss, though.
Yeah. Oh, it is. It's definitely a toss.
Most people can't even get it to the board.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
But we sat down and we were like, okay, we got to make this realistically achievable without making it so everybody at every single, so we don't got to give away $6,000-$7,000
Yeah.
and nobody got it.
No.
Okay, yeah.
No.
No.
It-
But we
it's-
only did it. I think we only did it 2, maybe 3 times, because this started like right when COVID. So their last 2
Yeah.
seasons have been,
All
kind
of
of shut down, or fans weren't available. So we only got a couple opportunities to do
Oh,
it.
yeah.
But
So perfect TikTok video, by the way. Like because Jeff was down there and
Yeah.
on the field and like kind of orchestrates the whole thing and like But to take a video of the guys throwing bags on the field, like,
Yeah.
that'd be, that'd be something great that we could do. So awesome. Yeah.
Sweet.
No, we should do that at one of our summer events and have a cornhole toss and you can buy
Win a
tickets.
grand.
Are
It's-
Subden and Artema invited?
Subden
Are they
Arma
pretty good or not?
Subden
No.
Arma, I've
Don't they
never
play
Yeah, they're
together
pretty
a
good.
lot?
Yeah.
No, they're not.
They're not very good.
They're,
Yeah.
look, I'm
They're
just
decent.
being real,
Is
okay?
this a Montague Whitehall thing or
No, it's not.
No,
So
no, that-
Hey,
they,
Jeff's got a whole different perspective though. It's like in golf. Like when you ask, like, are you pretty good at golf? A guy that shoots maybe like 95 is going to be like, yeah, I'm pretty good.
Yeah.
I keep it under 100.
right.
And then there's going to be a guy that's a 10 handicap that's going to look at a guy like that and yeah, you're not real. Like, no, he's not good. The guy at the 10 handicap is looking at guys that are 2 and 3 handicaps and being like, he's good. The guy here is looking at the guy that's a 10 saying, yeah, he's good. Like, it's all in perspective.
It
I
is,
think.
and you see that a lot. People will come to the events and be like, "Oh yeah, we're really good. We play in the backyard all the time. We're going to take this down," and then they're like 2 games and out.
yeah,
But
can
I
see
mean,
that.
there's Saturday.
it's competition.
There's a couple guys there up in Cedar Springs Saturday that are ACL pros. So ACL is the American Cornhole League. That's the stuff you see on ESPN, the Johnsonville Brats, all that, right?
Mm-hmm.
These guys, they're ACL pros. And it is just, it's so smooth. Like it's just throw it, it goes in the bowl. Throw it, goes in the hole.
Yeah, they
You
make
put
like
a blocker
every
in
one.
front of them where it's blocking them in the hole, and they just throw it over your
Over
bag,
it.
and it goes right. And it's so that when I say that Christian
No.
and Nate aren't good,
It's all relative.
it is, yeah. I know they played at an event I had up at Double J Resort a couple years ago, and they won the social division. So I mean, they can hold their own.
Yeah, they're not bad. I've played with
But-
both of them. I would say Nate's like I wouldn't put Nate and Christian in the same category.
Yeah,
Nate's
I haven't
better.
seen him play in a while. I mean,
Yeah.
it's tough.
But like
because
you said, you play against just like golf. Golf's a good example too.
Yeah, oh, it's a
Right.
great
It
example.
You're
I
so
mean, it
good
is.
at White Lake, but until you
Well, yeah,
you
somebody,
go play.
yeah, somebody says like, hey, like if I went out and played with somebody that never plays, they're gonna be like, oh, he hits it in the
He's
fairway,
legit.
he makes pars and birdies. I'm like, I can shoot in the 70s, right?
Yeah.
Like, but like then you look at, and I'm just gonna throw some names of golfers. You look at a Chris Ritchie or Eric Sanford or any number of guys in the area that are good amateur golfers, and those guys are like, it's a whole nother level.
you throw
And then
Brad Tate in there because I
Tate-
mean,
yeah,
Tater
Tate.
tot.
I've seen a
I-
podcast where he.
I'm not gonna
definitely
lie. All right, Tater can play. Tater doesn't hit it a long ways, but Brad is a great guy. Like, as a matter of fact, I told a story after the podcast was over. We played in a skins game with my dad Sundays for years. Like a bunch of his players. My dad was a stick. My dad's a good golfer. Not exceptionally good, but like single handicap good, right?
Yeah.
All the guys that play with him know their way around a golf course. We're all probably between a 5 and a 15 handicap, right? Like, and so Brad was out at Oceana one time playing, and I'm like, Brad, you want to play in the skins game? Brad was never invited back to the skins game. Like he just, I mean, he's super consistent. He makes a lot of birdies. I think he eagled number 5 on us, and so they're like, don't bring him back,
Yeah.
kind of thing. But Brad is not the best golfer I've ever played
Right,
with, right? Like,
And
so-
then there's those people, and then there's like a national level.
oh
right? Like, let's
yeah,
talk
I mean,
about, like,
it's
some PGA pros, and I think that's like the cornhole comparison. Like
oh,
these guys
it's
play on,
perfect.
like,
Yeah,
the top level. It's just different.
Yeah,
It's
it's
just different.
Yeah, it goes back to that age old question. Like, and I think Bubba Watson actually did this a while back. Like, what would a pro golfer shoot at your local Muni course, right? Like, Watson went out and shot the course record and missed putts, like that he should have made, and like absolutely just destroyed this Muni golf course. First time, not even really trying, and like it's just a completely different level. The thing I would say about Tater is Tate doesn't hit the ball very far.
Right.
So you put him on a longer course. There's guys that are as good as him short game that will pound the ball. Like you play at a course like Oceana or White Lake. Like, I mean, I've watched guys at White Lake like drive, half of the par 4s on the back 9.
Mhm.
Yeah, like that's a whole different level. But yeah, it's
Yeah,
the
but
same
you-
thing.
drive for show, putt for dough. Isn't that the same?
Those guys
That's
can
right.
putt too. Like that's that. But yeah.
Well, there's levels in different sports, even
Right.
football. I mean, like we were talking
Every
about
sport's like-
when Michigan took care of Ohio State, but then how they looked against Georgia, that's just because there's different levels.
Right.
You want to know how they look against an NFL team?
Well, that's just it. When people say,
Even the worst NFL.
Which
that's
NFL
that's
which
why I
NFL
laugh
team?
when people
Yeah,
say,
like,
"Oh, they
doesn't
could beat
It doesn't matter.
the Lions
played
lose."
the
Like, no,
Jags.
come on.
Jags
Yeah.
would kill them.
Jags would whoop them. Dude.
I don't
even
care.
be close.
And I
agree
see
with
that that's a common response, but you like that step up. Every single player on the Jazz's team was one
On
of
Georgia's
probably
team.
what's that?
Was on a team
On
like
a team
Georgia,
like
you
Georgia.
know.
Like they're all amazing. Like and again, that's that step up. I think parents get lost in that. Sometimes we've
They
had this
do.
talk.
Yeah.
Parents get lost, teams get lost in like how good people actually are.
How good
Like,
you have to
it's-
be
Yeah,
to
I
play
mean
at that
it's
certain
it's
level.
phenomenal. So
Well, we're trying to. That's one of the things with Michigan Cornhole League we're doing different is trying to handicap the players. I guess like the event I was at Saturday, there was social, and there was competitive, but you can play whatever you want. Like I could be the best guy in the state. I could have played social. With an open event like that, there's no control. Well, that's what we're trying to do is figure out a way. And there's some
Make
really
it
cool software. It's called Scoreholio that we use at all our events, and it'll
That's
track your stats.
What a good name.
that is
Yeah,
such a
it's
Matt
awesome.
Parker name.
I was gonna
No, I
say.
know.
Score Julio.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
But the software is really cool because instead of just keeping score like, oh yeah, I got 6, and you put 6 on the scoreboard, you actually say, okay, well, I had 2 bags in, and I had 2 bags on, and Brent had 2 bags on, and then you hit submit, and it will calculate that score. So it'll give me 6 points, but it's keeping track of what you did with every single bag.
Gotcha.
And it's giving you stats, and you're able to get this points per round, PPR. So what we're doing is we're saying, all right, well, we're going to divide people up into 4 different levels, A, B, C, D.
Yep.
And if your PPR is 0 to 4, you're a D player, and 5 and 6 is C, and 7 and 8 is B. And then we're going to run events where the people aren't going to get a choice where they're going to play.
Are you
You're
threatening
playing
me?
based on your PPR, and it's to try and get you against similar competition.
Yeah.
But the other focus for us is it's going to help grow the game.
Right.
So
Because-
just a quick question on that. You keep those stats though, right? Like they don't like in golf, I think one of the big things is always that like I'm posting all my scores. in
Oh yeah,
handicaps.
it's all through the app.
Yeah,
So you can't.
That's
You can't.
That's actually a much better way because, like
The only way you can handicap your or sandbag, I guess you'd say, is you have to be committed to it and go throw like crap in an
Yeah.
event. And who wants to do that, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've seen in golf it's worked both ways. Like I've watched guys that are like, yeah, I'm a 10 handicap, and you go play with them, and they're like, no way you're a 10 hand. It's because they only put in their good scores, right?
Right.
It's something, some kind of social pride thing. But then I've watched other guys too, where you go play them in a tournament,
Yeah, and they're saying
and
they
you're
got
like, you're a 12. Like, dude, you just shot even par.
Right.
Like,
Right.
you didn't just get lucky either. Like, so.
And it's not a perfect science. I mean,
yeah.
we're trying to take a step in the right direction and at least get part of the way there. And the big part of it is that it's real easy for somebody to be like, oh, I want to play my first tournament. And you go out and you double elimination tournament, you go against this really good team, you lose 21-0. You go to the losers bracket, you play another team, you lose 21-0. Now you just lost 2 games, and you're like, well, this is no fun. I'm never coming back.
right.
With what we're doing, we're hoping that it gets more people involved.
Progression, right?
And
Like,
and gives them a chance. So like I'm this week I've got a couple leagues that are starting up in Muskegon at Sherman Bowling Center. Wednesday night it's a competitive league. And then Thursday is the social league. And what's nice about the people that are playing is that they're being pretty honest with where they're going to be. Like I haven't had to go to anybody and be like, look, you're not social. You need to play in the competitive
Right.
league. And again, it's just giving people an opportunity to play because it's intimidating. Like the event that I was at Saturday, we had for doubles there had to be 60 some teams. Right, so we're playing the Cedar Rock Sportsplex. You walk in and there's a couple hundred people there.
Yeah,
like
that's awesome.
that's your first tournament. You're like, oh, okay, this is a little intimidating. But if you're playing against people that are similar, then it's not as bad and hopefully a better experience.
So if I wanted to sign up, Jeff, what do I have to do to figure out, like, how do I get to be a part of the league? How do I get to, like, what do I do?
So right now we're doing a lot of events that you don't actually have to be like a paid member to be in. It's more just, hey, this is what we're doing. Come and play. The leagues, you do have to have a paid membership. Our season runs from Labor Day to Memorial Day, so we're into our first season. The membership is $35, and you need
Sign
that
up
to be in the
online?
league. Yep. So MichiganCornholeLeague.com. You can get your membership there. A lot of the events are on Facebook, so Michigan Cornhole League. Whether it's just events like we did on Saturday or the leagues, we're going to do some tournaments February, March, April, May, one per month. We're going to do that are going to be we're calling them Michigan Madness. They're going to be for members only. They're going to be a big one-day event. We're hoping to get all the people from all over the state to come and participate. We'll do singles and doubles, and
Can it be Michigan State Madness?
because three of the four of us partners are Michigan fans, so we had to leave the state out of there.
All right, whatever.
But yeah, MichiganCornholeLeague.com, a lot of information out there, and yeah, it's been fun. It's been a lot of work. That's one
For
thing
sure.
that if there's one frustrating thing for me, it's that the people that show up and play and get upset over what the payouts are at the events, and well, you should be paying out more money, or why are you only paying out this much? They just don't see the time and effort put in on the back end to make these successful.
Kind of like being a small business owner, huh?
It's very similar, yeah. You know, I mean, if I run an event, I'm there 2 hours before check-in starts, and I'm hauling boards around, and I'm setting it up, and I'm managing all the registrations and making sure that it's running as smooth as
But you're
possible.
getting rich off cornhole, Jeff, aren't you?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
That's why I used to work at Cal.
Yeah.
Yeah. And a lot of
Hey,
people
now.
Just say it.
yeah. A lot of people don't see that, or they don't look at it as a business.
Yeah.
Right. And so there's some people that think that with this Michigan Cornhole League that the four of us guys are just out to like control cornhole across the whole state. Right. That's not what we're doing. Like, we're just trying to give people another avenue to play.
An opportunity.
There's a couple other leagues, the ACL, the ACO, they're geared more towards your more competitive players. Well, the people that are just backyard players that want to go outside their backyard, they don't have a lot of places where they can go and be able to
So
compete.
you're like the Tuesday night golf league kind of thing, like
Yeah.
where you're handicapping it, you're making it enjoyable for everyone.
There's
Yeah.
just not that many opportunities. There's not that
Yeah.
many places to
Yep.
do that right now.
No, I think it's
so
great.
That's why it's,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's cool.
So it's
That's awesome.
yeah, it's going well. I mean, we learned a lot. We thought we had it pretty well figured out. They do something similar down in Texas, Texas Cornhole League. When we first got this idea, we reached out to them, and Chad down there, who runs that, has been an open book. He's been doing it for like 11, 12 years. And he told us, look, I don't want you guys to make the same mistakes that I did. So here's how I do things.
That's
and
crazy.
we took that, and there were a few things that we kind of wanted to do different. We ran it by him, like, well, hey, we're thinking about doing it this way. I did it that way. Here's what happened. Oh, yeah, we didn't think about that. So we don't do it exactly like they do, but we thought we had a pretty good foundation built, and we got going this season and realized that we overlooked a couple things, and so we're kind of making some changes on the fly.
the way it
The real
goes.
goal is to be the points champion. We got a scorecard, so you get points at all these events. It's not just about the money. You get points, and they go on your scorecard, and at the end of the year, whoever has the most points is a point champion. Well, there's a lot of people that play in the ACL, the ACO, who they're like, well, can I get my points from those events in your events? We're like, yeah, just tell your director to submit them for us. We'll count them. We don't care, right? It's just play cornhole, and you
Right.
play, you get points. So that was a change we made, and we're still kind of rolling out. But it's just about playing the game, and so many people, look at it as, well, it's a money grab for me. If I'm really good, I can go make all this money. Or it's a money grab for me and my business partners, right? Well, we're just trying to take money from everybody and get rich off of cornhole. They just don't understand the time and effort and what goes into it on the back end to make all this work. So trying to get people to understand.
So I got to cut Jeff off because he'll talk about cornhole. Like we'll
He
be
likes
here.
cornhole.
We'll
Right.
be here till
That's
5
true.
o'clock.
Right.
I have a question. Though. It's not on our list that Zach had here, but
Okay.
I'm looking around the room and I just thought this. We got some baseball players in this room. Not me. Like I was way too good of an athlete to play baseball.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
who's the best baseball player in this room via accolades? So I know Scott. You played in the state finals or semifinals,
Semifinals, yeah.
right? Zach.
I won district championships. That was it, though. I lost
right.
in every region I played in.
You did really?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
No.
All conference, Scott.
Second team all state.
Second team. Anybody beat second team all state?
Nope.
Jeffrey.
No. But maybe if I could have stayed healthy, but I just had to break fingers
All the
junior
time.
and senior year. But
Ian was second team all state.
Was he really?
Yeah.
He's so sly. That guy's just like on the sly.
Yeah.
I
We
feel
never
like
won a-
CatchMark could have a pretty good baseball team. Like if we wanted to
maybe
go
a
play
men's
beer league
softball.
baseball,
I don't know. Maybe men's softball. league.
men's softball
Yeah.
league.
I wish I
played
could
a
play
lot of
baseball,
softball,
but-
actually.
Are you gonna bring like the Michelsons in and stuff to add them to our team?
Did Link in here and like get
Bring
Van
bring
Bergen,
Gowell here.
bring
Yep.
Gowell, yeah,
Yes.
like get them all
Can
all in.
Can I tell you a link
Link
story?
throws
Yeah.
gas. Dude.
So-
Still.
Yeah, so my senior year in high school, so Link's dad was my coach, Charlie Michelson. And Link came to a practice, and I was a catcher, and I was talking to him, and I'm like, well, I want you to throw, I want to see what it's like to catch somebody that throws as hard as you do, but then it's movement, right? And he's like, yeah, let's go. So I get behind the plate. He's like, all right, fastball. And I still to today remember it. It was just like, boom, and it hit my glove
On ya.
so hard. I'm just
Still
like,
hard.
wow. So he threw a couple of those, and like I caught one like right on the fatty pad of my thumb here, and oh my god, it burned for days. I'm like, well, this is crazy. He's like, all right, let me throw you some curveballs now. And like it felt like I was sitting there with my glove like this, and the ball like moved this far. Like it was crazy, the movement. But yeah.
What level did Link play at?
Well, he played. He got drafted by an MLB organization, and I think he played in like AA or AAA or something. But then he went overseas and
He
played
went-
in
yeah.
Japan professionally.
Yeah.
Oh, he did.
Mm-hmm.
Japan League's no joke.
No.
They're
That's
good.
I mean, that's what, dude. That's all he's ever done.
And again,
Yeah.
there's levels. I was never anywhere near that
No.
level.
Yeah. Second
And
team
just
all state. What position did you play? Scott?
Pitched.
You pitched. What kind of gas?
Lefty.
80, right? Like
Nah, about 80, low 80s
that's
probably.
still pretty good, Scott.
Yeah,
That's
it is.
81.
You don't see 80s at I mean, you see it like 80. If you throw 80,
Especially
you're a good pitcher.
lefties, you don't see it as much usually in high school.
because
They're going to be more movement based.
this
Curveball was
weird
my pitch.
coming out of your hand.
It is.
Looking,
You
Dan
got the
Miner-
natural tail.
I
Dan
caught Dan
Miner.
Miner. He threw. He had a
Big
lot of
Dan.
junk, but he threw hard too, and he was a lefty. I mean,
Yeah.
he's a big guy now. He was that size
Yeah, he was
as
big
like a
one.
freshman in high
That's
school,
right.
and
Like an
he threw hard. Yeah.
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 So, baseball levels, AAA's lowest level, right? Like
It's the
Highest.
highest before the
single
minors.
A's, single A,
Single,
double A,
yep.
triple A. Okay.
Yep.
So he was close. He
Yeah,
was
oh,
there.
yeah.
Best baseball player ever to come out of this area, do you think?
It's got to be Nate McLeod.
Yeah, it's
Nate.
hard to argue Nate,
Oh,
probably.
that's
Yeah.
other than Nate. I just guess I
Chad
completely-
Plinus is pretty good. I actually
Plinus
saw
was
him
really
play.
good?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Plinus was legit. Plinus played in like what? He played Double A. I think it was Double A, single A, Double A. I watched him play in
Who
Florida
else?
when I was younger. I mean,
Van Bergen would have to be on that list.
Brett. Those guys are crazy. Van Bergen, I bumped into him.
John Heisinger maybe.
I bumped into him going up to the VAC one day. We were
Mhm.
taking the kids up for basketball practice or something. Van Bergen's coming out and he's like sweaty and like looked like he was sore. I'm like, what are you doing? They all get together and still play in some baseball tournament out in the middle of like Arizona.
Yeah, so that's what I mean by
Is that
Link
what
still
Blankstrom
throws
was doing, I
gas.
think?
Yeah,
Blankstrom
Blankstrom
and all those
and
guys?
Brad. Where Brad's like he was in there
Link too.
practicing. Link is I know Link's on
Yeah.
that. Like and they win. Like they legit go
Oh,
out
I
and
know.
win. Like I'm
They
like
won like national championships in like their 40 and over league.
yeah.
Seriously, Link. Like I'm not joking. Link throws like 85 still. I'm not kidding.
Really?
I remember
Yes.
watching a Muskegon
I've-
City League game at Marsh Field, and I bring that up. I don't know if Link was on that team or not, but Blankstrom was catching. I had never heard of him before. Now, granted, this is a long time ago. That dude had a freaking rocket on him.
Yeah.
Catching?
Yeah.
Blankstrom
No, Blankstrom's a
did.
good
Oh,
catcher.
but yeah,
Blankstrom,
yeah.
Yeah.
They're
They're all
Rick can
good.
play, Brad can play. They're all pretty good. It's
Brad's a
pretty
good
good.
hitter.
Like, you know what Link does well as well is he's a good golfer.
Yeah, I know.
He's a
Golf
stick
with him,
too. Yeah, like the dude can play.
He's a good
So-
athlete, dude. It's just
You,
him.
you got to include Jacob Bushberger in there. So, I mean,
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, Jacob's
You know,
got to be
he's-
somewhere too.
And Jake,
yeah.
like, Jake's in like single A, just to give you like an idea.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's where. So it's
He's doing
like-
pretty well in single A too, right?
Absolutely, and he might. We don't know with him because he
Right.
could,
Yeah.
But there's a lot of movement there too.
What? So Nate's path though, like because Nate didn't immediately go play in the majors. He
No.
played did he go double right away or did he go
So he
single
went-
right away?
He went single right away. He got drafted out of high school.
Yep.
And it had he had obviously had full ride scholarship opportunities
Yeah.
in
if he-
D1,
Yep.
and that's like a hard decision to make, But yeah, he went right to the pro level and just kind of worked his way up through the ranks until he got called up to the bigs.
I think some people when they hear single A or they like I had to have this conversation with my kids like G League or D League at the time, like basketball. Like I'm like we're gonna go watch a pro game, and I told them at the time it was the D League. It's the D League. Oh, and I'm like, no guys, like these are like the top 400 players in the entire world.
Absolutely.
Like these
Right.
guys, like I think one of the first dudes I watched play for the Drive was. Played for Duke. He was an All-American at Duke. He played like 12 years in the league. He ended up getting picked up by Cavaliers that year. They played in the finals, and the kids
No
are
way.
like, he's in the game. He's playing with LeBron. I'm like, yeah, he's legit.
It was like Duhan or something like that.
No, it wasn't Chris Duhan. It was he was younger. I'll think of his name later. But yeah, like
They're
people
legit.
just don't understand.
No,
like,
they don't.
So
Yeah,
no,
it's interesting how it
it's-
works. There's some good baseball players though, for sure. They came
yeah.
out of this.
What
area.
position did you play, Zach?
I pitched. I played a little bit of all over the place. I played a lot of the corners. I played a lot at third, a lot at first, and then I pitched quite a bit too. But it was just the way it goes.
And
I had a good
I'll
team.
be honest too. The all-state selection in any sport can be political, and it doesn't always shake out exactly how you think
Yeah.
it could or might or should.
Yeah, no, I mean that's
It's
common.
all
and-
about how much
it's-
someone's pushed and all that stuff. You know.
Well, and sometimes it's all of that stuff is weird. All the way, all conference, all district. Like you see guys, you see guys make all district teams or all area teams that weren't even all conference in their
Yep.
conference, and
It's
sometimes
tough.
it's all about the rules and
That's
like
the way it goes, though.
yeah. So it
That's the way
it
it
is what it
goes.
is. A lot of guys that are great athletes, and it's all timing too. Like Chris Dawson, partner in CatchMark, I can't even believe I'm going to say this. One of the better golfers that I've played with, right? Like Tate will give him a hard time, but Chris is a stick, right?
Yeah.
Like, Chris, I don't believe Chris was all conference in our conference the year he graduated. He averaged
Yeah.
like 81 or 82 or something like that
Yeah.
for 18 holes, but we had all the guys I mentioned were all played it like they were just amazing. Then he went
Yeah.
to state that year in our class, but it's just sometimes it's timing too.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
I remember we always used to talk about how we'd want to go. We'd want to go north. Like we'd want to go north for the playoffs because if we went south, you'd see the same teams. You see the Grand Rapids Christians, and every single time we played those teams, there's a kid that throws 88 or 90, and he's going to U of M.
Yeah.
Seriously, I ran into two of those kids, and we just don't see that around here.
we never won a district championship when I was in high school because we ran into Muskegon Catholic every year.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Oh my God, they were just solid.
Legit.
I mean, it didn't matter where you hit the ball if you could even hit it. Like they just had a solid top to bottom team.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It
I'm trying to remember, was Mao playing then, or is he a little younger? Probably Ryan Mao.
I think he was
Mao was
younger.
younger.
This
He's
was
a good
he's a
athlete
good golfer,
too. He's
too.
a really good golfer,
Yeah.
really good bowler.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can remember some. Andy Kazubal, Brian
See if I
O'Toole.
can
Oh, yeah.
remember.
Catholic
Yeah.
was good when I was. in
They
school,
were
too.
like-
They've been good
yeah.
for a long time.
Yeah,
We lost 4 games my senior year, 3 of them to Catholic,
yeah.
and they were like, if you put us both on paper, I'd say it was pretty close, but they beat us 3 out of 3 times.
yeah.
We couldn't beat them.
My senior year, we returned 8 starters from the year before. And
What year was this? Like 95?
94.
94.
94, yeah.
Long
And so we
time
returned
ago.
My dad
8
wasn't coaching. I think that was it was like
Before.
his first
Yeah,
year.
just before.
Like 95 or 96.
So we
was his
thought,
first
hey,
year.
because we did decent. Or we had a decent
You had a good
season.
team. Yeah.
I put a lot of my junior year on my back. I caught all year. of pretty much every inning, every game. And then the last game before districts, we're playing up in Holton. And you wouldn't know it looking at me now, but I had some wheels.
All right,
Like,
so I got to
fast.
interject here. So I'm this is no joke. Jeff was not is because he's not
No.
anymore. Was legit fast, and Jeff was legit. Had he not jumped out of car and broken his head, I think he probably would have been a legit football player too. Like you did not
Right.
want to see him coming at you because he was
Wheels?
fast
Yeah.
and
He's a
strong. And like,
Big dude.
Yeah.
He's a big dude.
and he played center for the basketball team, so not well.
No,
but
I was there.
but
You
he
don't
was
hear
there.
me talk much about basketball. So we're playing at Holton last game before districts, right? And we're crushing them. Ross Finland ends up, he throws a no-hitter.
Finland.
And so we're beating them bad, and I get up to bat and I hit one kind of in the gap between the shortstop and the third baseman, but I knew the shortstop was going to get there, so I'm legging it out, and I chat Lemon into first base, dive head first, jam my finger into the bag. I get up and it's like
Backwards.
I don't think my hand's supposed to be like that. Broke my finger, missed districts. So we go into districts. The guy catching hadn't caught all year long, and we didn't do well. So I put that on me. So I'm like, all right, we're coming back senior
Solely,
year.
it is absolutely your fault.
Yeah,
100%.
I think the rest of the guys would agree as well. So come back
A
my senior
meaningless
year.
game. You're diving into first base.
Yeah, screwing around. We come back our senior year. All right, we got 8 of our 9 starters back. We're going to be good this year. We're going to win the conference. That was our goal. We're going to take out Catholic. First outdoor practice, we're practicing getting leads off first base, and then allowing our pitchers to either throw to home or get their pickoff moves, right? Very first time I'm on first base. I get my lead. John Kessler throws over to first base. I dive back in, jam my middle finger in to the bag, break it. I missed the first half of the season.
No way.
Man.
Yeah.
Dude, what's
Like
wrong with
by
your
this point
fingers, man?
now I don't have any friends. Like the whole team is just,
I don't have any
I'm fragile. Everybody hates me.
Yeah, he never hurt himself in basketball. He was always there. I don't understand it.
Well, I had limited opportunities to hurt myself in basketball. It was either going to be in practice, warm-ups, or grabbing my water bottle. But, so
That's good.
it was, it was some great experiences, though.
Monty had some good teams back then.
We underachieved. Like, I think you ask anybody on that team, they'll tell you we totally underachieved.
Who's the best baseball player you ever played with?
Probably Rick Elvestuffer. And you can and you can tell by Brent's face
I
that.
can't even believe you said that.
So Rick and I, and he's a Montague guy, right? If you don't know, but him and I have some history. We butted heads, but I'm not gonna lie, he a phenomenal athlete. Like
he's a great
just-
football player too.
Yeah, great athlete. But yeah, he hit the ball.
Does this kid play for
Hard.
football for Hartford, or is that no relation?
Probably
it's
a
probably
relation.
related,
Elvis
but it's
Stuffer
he's
there.
got like
Yeah.
There's
ten
also
history
Elvis Tuffers
with
around here,
Lot of
too.
them.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Rick was he was
Joe.
on that '92 team, football team too. Rick was a great.
yeah.
Um,
He went right to varsity as a freshman in football.
yeah.
Which is
Started,
pretty
played
uncommon.
linebacker, and
Mhm.
he's
Beast.
great. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
great athlete.
Interesting.
Yeah, but I think it was him.
You know who I was just thinking of? Jamie Potts. I don't mean to interrupt, but Jamie
No.
Potts, pretty baseball player.
I never saw Potts play baseball.
Yeah, he's good.
Played like I don't know exactly what Spokane is like.
Great in football and basketball. And,
Yeah,
or
he's just a good
baseball,
athlete.
excuse me.
There were a lot of good. I mean, at the time, like if I think back, there were a couple guys on almost all the conference teams that were good.
Mhm.
I'm terrible with names. I couldn't remember most of them. Oak Ridge, Shelby. Yeah, they.
I'm not gonna lie, guys. I could never get into baseball. I just couldn't do
super
it.
surprises me.
I played 2 years little league. I was good at it. I didn't have a great arm, but I hit well, not power, but
Yeah,
and coordinated. I just was so unbelievably bored.
because you're such a mental mind guy. Like everything's. That's why it blows my.
I
my
remember the second year I played. I remember specifically a game where I played outfield. I usually played center, and I got one ball hit to me, and I got 2 or 3 at bats, and I'm like, I would rather watch paint dry than do this again. I gotta have
that
more
ruins
movement.
you. The little league outfield ruins people.
It was
I think.
terrible. I was but
Because
I
you don't
wasn't. I didn't have a
understand.
good enough arm to pitch. I was new to baseball, so I hadn't gotten all the mechanics and stuff. It just was like, and I had 2 years, and I was a soccer guy. So I was like, I was doing both at the same time. My mom and dad were like, you got to pick.
You got to pick one.
And I'm like, baseball's gone.
I always played baseball. I played 1 year of youth football.
Yeah, I never played
First
football
year I
either.
play, I was probably like 8 or 9, and got put in there at the quarterback, and then just never played again. And then going into high school, everybody's like, oh, you got to play football. You got to play football.
You were
So I go out and was one of the running backs, and then that was a short-lived career there because I decided jumping out of a car at 25 miles an hour was the way to go.
Jeff, you just need to.
Right. Can I tell one really quick Little League
Well,
story?
I mean, we're already at about 3 hours.
Right. So Little League, check this. My dad was my coach. I didn't hit a lot of home runs. I only hit like 2 or 3 in the league. I can remember we're playing at Montague. I hit a grand slam off Tony Jasic. Right?
That's sweet.
And I'm flying high. Well, in Little League, I was pitching to. I go out the next inning and pitch. I gave up 9 runs, and my dad had to pull me. So I go from like
I can't
grand
believe your
slam-
dad let it get to 9.
That's
Like,
really
I
good.
picture
Well,
old
it
Dave
happened
Burrell,
quick.
like,
Right.
5 runs, you're gone. Yeah, I don't care
Yeah,
if
it
you're a
was
kid.
brutal.
See ya.
But
Old Tony.
Getting
I
yanked
forgot
the
Tony
worst.
played baseball. to
He
be
was
honest
good.
with you. You know who I remember playing against? I remember Stramberg. Was his name
He
from
was-
Whitehall.
yeah.
I don't know who that is.
Joe.
Joe Stramberg.
Joe was
Joe
good. He's got
Stramberg.
kids at that age now. Our kid's age, I think.
I think they go to Whitehall.
Yeah.
Whitehall or Reese Puffer, because I know
Yeah.
he lives in the area.
And
But
then I remember nobody wanted to hit when Matt Gorbig or Brian Swisher were playing because they both threw hard, but you never knew where it was going.
So
Like I remember
with
playing
Justin Flynn.
Flynn.
If
yeah,
you
guys
next
still-
time you see
Yeah,
my
so
dad, ask my dad about coaching Justin Flynn in Little League baseball.
I can't imagine coaching
Oh my
Justin
God.
Scott's
Flynn
got
in-
a story.
No, not a story, but I played in that era with Huizinga.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you
Bushberger.
did. Yeah.
Chris Andrews was a good pitcher for Whitehall.
Chris
then.
Andrews, he coaches at Portage Northern.
Portage Northern, yeah. I covered him when I was down in Kalamazoo,
No
so that was
kidding.
kind of cool. And
I like Chris a
they
lot.
ended up winning a state title a couple years ago.
How
Chris
good was
Andrews did.
Heis? Like I
He's
never
really,
saw
Heis?
he was really good.
Kurt. Yeah.
He was really good.
He holds like a ton of offensive
Great
records
hitter.
at Aquinas.
Great hitter.
Yeah.
He's a really good hitter.
Yeah, I mean he's another
just
guy
good
that
all the
played
way
like
around, but
Independence
He couldn't run.
League.
He
Like
didn't have the best wheels from what I remembered.
No.
But
no,
he could do everything else.
You
Yeah.
hit it far enough and hard enough. You don't have to be fast.
sure. Yeah.
And he didn't seem like a big power hitter, but he did his share of doubles. And
Yeah, no,
he could just hit.
That's how Rick was. Rick, I don't think Rick hit a lot of home runs, but my God, he hit the ball hard,
Yeah.
and he hit it in the gaps, and
Yep.
he hit it consistently.
Yep.
In high school, I mean, if you're a good hitter in high school, like some are gonna go out. That's just the way it is.
Yeah, especially if
know.
you play in Mason County. That's where that's the only
I
place
was
I had
just
a
gonna
high
ask
Yeah,
that
for
question.
real.
Like these
Hard-
guys-
Only
Hart-
where-
that and
Hart was bad too.
Oh.
Hart Mason County.
Hart's like
We had-
left field's pretty shallow.
You know, actually, the same thing happened in
Right
high
field, too.
school. My sophomore or junior year, I hit a home run. It was my junior year. Hit a home run and then went into pitch for an inning and got yanked because I gave up like 3 home runs.
A
Stick
pattern
sketching.
there happened.
Yeah. I was a much better catcher.
All right, I suppose I'd like to talk some more, but I don't think we can.
Yeah, we've gone.
Well,
quite
I
some-
mean, I want to know what you guys thought of the NFL this last weekend here.
I didn't watch a single game.
You
Fancy.
did not watch. There's one particular game. I don't.
Are you
Yeah.
talking about AB?
Huh?
You talking
Talking
about
about
AB or
AB?
you
Well,
talking about
because
well,
we
then
kinda
there's
brought it
two.
up, yeah.
The Antonio Brown thing was humorous, but did you see the end of the Kansas City and the
Cincinnati?
Cincinnati game?
I didn't. I heard about it, but I didn't see it.
Same. I just read it.
It was the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen, and they lucked out. Like it's
Well, since he won the division, right?
yeah, but it's
Yeah.
fourth. It's 4th and goal on the 1 yard line, with like 40 seconds left. So they didn't want to give the ball back to Patrick Mahomes with 40
Yeah, I wouldn't
seconds
either.
left. So they go for it. They don't get it, but there's a flag. So they get a whole fresh set of downs. They go for it again and again. And like 3 times later, they've now whittled the clock down to 2 seconds left and kick a field goal to end the game and win. Like
So the flag basically gave him another set of downs.
So five times they attempted to make
1 year.
1 yard, and I'm the whole time I'm like, just kick the field goal and go into overtime. And even the announcers are like, in 30 years of announcing games, I've never seen anybody make a move like this.
The only thing I know happened in that game is Jamar Chase had 55.1 points on my fantasy team that was not in the playoffs.
That's good.
55 points from a receiver.
That's crazy.
Not only that, but my Dolphins just.
I was going to
dropped
say,
it.
anyone notice he hasn't brought up the Dolphins?
Yeah, that's a little weird.
I felt bad.
Well, not only that.
I legitimately, I felt bad for 2 reasons. One, I was legitimately rooting for the Dolphins, Billy. Like, you've got me
here.
rooting for the darn Dolphins right now.
don't
And I
know
like,
if I can get
I wanted to punch myself in the stomach. I'm like,
Yeah.
what are you doing? All because, Billy, I so badly wanted to see him win for you.
I didn't watch any games. I scrolled through the scores. I'm like, Lions lost. That's no surprise.
Lions
And
lost.
I did the
I
same
thought
thing.
the Lions
What did,
would win.
then I looked for the Dolphins,
I
all because
skipped
of
the
Billy.
Lions game and went and saw the movie American. What's the name of that one? The Kurt Warner
Underdog?
movie.
Oh,
American
yeah.
Underdog for the second time I've seen it.
I've heard
Wow,
it's pretty good.
that good. hey?
I love it. I think it's a great movie.
Yeah,
Well,
that's
it came
great
in
stuff.
Took my
third
dad to
place
see it
behind
yesterday.
Spider-Man, and there was a kids movie that came out this weekend too. That was
Oh, I've seen it.
number
It's a good one.
Spidey.
That's good.
I'll have to
one.
watch
That's all. That's all I had.
That's all you had. All right.
Anything else?
Thanks
No,
for letting
we
me
got
be
stuff
on.
coming up this
Absolutely.
week, right?
We do.
What
We
do
do.
we got?
We have Player of
we
the
got
Year banquet coming up this week, this Saturday,
this Saturday.
That'll be exciting.
What time is the Player of the Year banquet?
6 p.m.
Awesome. I got to.
North Grove Brewers.
Awesome.
We hold the broadcasts for the risers. We're
There
selling
you go.
tickets. You can
On
watch.
Yep,
that's on Friday and Saturday.
You got a Monty Whitehall boys basketball game on Tuesday.
Any
Which is
predictions?
tomorrow. Yeah, I think Monty is taking this one.
That's good.
But never know with Monty Whitehall games.
Yeah, that's true. What else?
That's what it
Anything
is.
else?
Is Camden going to be back?
Power
That's
hour.
the question.
I don't know. Question mark. He should be soon though.
We have the power.
Power Hour on Thursday. Who's our guest, Scott?
Well, we're working on it. We were working on Khalil Pimpleton.
Yep.
He's going to be out of town. He declared for the draft
That's
yesterday.
awesome
Which is
story
cool.
there too.
So we were going to
Yeah.
work on that, but we're working on that right now still.
Either way, it'll be cool. Be a good time.
Okay.
Anything else we're missing?
No.
Cool. Huge thank you to Van Dyke Mortgage. Huge thank you to North Grove Brewers. And huge thank you to Shepherd and Shepherd. All those guys have been sponsoring us. They allow us to do what we do and cover the high school sports like we love to. So thank you so much to you guys. And that was episode 11, the CatchMark SportsNet podcast. We'll see you guys next time.